Go.
Hello, folks, and welcome to maybe the first live UK co-working assembly session that we're running today. And something that's come up a lot is like how to invest or how to fund or how to get money for your co-working business. And a lot of what we're doing in the co-working assembly universe is helping people connect and find ways to connect with their local community. We have the Town Square report, what if everyone could walk to work, and about how a co-working space is the center of the local community. And there's a whole lot of other stuff that we'll get to in this episode about how a co-working space fits into the economic fabric of your local community. So in the car today, we have Mike Zeidler himself. Do you want to say a little bit about what are you known for, Mike? And what would you like to be known for?
Going for in terms of crowdfunding?
In the co-working universe in general, and a bit of crowdfunding, and then we'll go to Anton.
Sorry, say that again.
What are you known for in the co-working universe in general, and then we'll go to Anton, and then we'll get to crowdfunding.
I'm known obviously for being brilliant digitally on the using things on the hoof. I guess I'm known for having set up a co-working space in 2006, and then a network of co-working spaces supporting each other, first across Bristol and then across Manchester. And now more recently, as we've sort of found the support really valuable, helping people to support each other across the UK through the brilliant UK Co-working Assembly. So, go on.
Cool. Maybe I'll step in here. So a big part of what we want to do with the UK Co-working Assembly is to create really valuable content that will help people that either run spaces or are thinking of starting spaces or expanding to new locations, really do it better and learn from each other to be able to kind of, maximize their resources and get the best results. And I thought, wouldn't it be a great opportunity to do a call where I share the story of the space that I've opened, and in particular, how I used crowdfunding during lockdown in order to bring in a little bit of extra money, but also to mobilize a community, even though no one was actually able to come into the space. And what I'll do is just talk you through the last year of how I found the space, raised a bit of money to fund renovation, how we were affected by lockdown, the initial crowdfunding campaign that we launched, and then how we pivoted to our own crowdfunding, and generally the lessons I've learned from that experience. So the space that I run is House of Transformation, and it's conveniently located directly above our apartment. So the commute to work is pretty much running up the stairs. And it was founded on a very simple idea that there was a disconnection between rural and urban life, and that what we wanted to do was create a space that in the city that would be a bridge to projects and places in the countryside. And we wanted to create a space that was really inspired by nature, full of plants, and that was as multi-purpose and flexible as possible. So that we didn't just use it for working, but we also could do a whole range of wellness events and community gatherings on evenings and weekends as well. Because we just felt that it was inefficient that so many offices sat empty on evenings and weekends, and yet so many shops and pubs and bars were completely empty during the day. And it started with lockdown happening, and I'd already built a relationship with an investor to try and open a space like this and then connect to rural landowners as well. And when lockdown happened, I looked up and realized the company that was upstairs was no longer there. So I gave my landlord a call, and we agreed some heads of terms about this time last year. And the plan was to have a 7-month rent-free period and get the keys at the beginning of September. And so what we did in that period was effectively 3D model the space, pre-design and pre-cut all of the wood that would enable us from the day we moved in to do the full fit out in less than 2.5 weeks, which includes sanding of the floors, changing the lighting, and all the kind of main construction pieces. And that was really, really helpful. What I wish that I'd thought about at that time was also to launch a crowdfunding campaign. But the idea to do that only came on the second wave of lockdown in December, where we realized that actually probably we wouldn't be able to open to events or gatherings or even to kind of one-on-one meetings for at least 3 to 4 months. What do we do in that time, right? How do we tell the story? How do we make people find out about who we are? And I learned about this crowdfunding grant fund called Make London, where you go on Space Hive, which is a civic project crowdfunding platform, and then you raise part of the money and the Mayor of London can match you up to 75%. And so I thought, that sounds like a good idea. So I made a little video, created a concept called HFest, which is a program of post-lockdown events to get people meeting and co-creating and spending time in community again, and made a little video kind of using Canva and iMovie, and kind of recorded the audio on my phone, put it up there. We did really well. We met our goal of raising 20% within the first 2 weeks with 75 backers, but unfortunately the Mayor of London didn't fund us. So I was a little bit stuck, which is we had £3,000 worth of commitments, but no way of claiming them. So I quickly jumped online and Googled around and hacked away. And I found a really interesting technology called DonorBox, which you can embed into your existing website. It enables you to effectively launch and build your very own crowdfunding page. And it doesn't charge the 6, 7, sometimes 8% that the crowdfunding platforms do. And you can control the target and everything that is contributed to the campaign goes directly into your account. So you don't have to meet your goal in order to get the funds. So what I did after that was I set up this page and then invited everyone that had contributed to fund through DonorBox. And now we're just over £4,000 of donations, trying to get up to 5,000. So if you want to support our space, www.hotspaces.org/crowdfunding. But in terms of tactics, I think one of the things that I learned was how important WhatsApp and direct messaging is. And it's better to, in Airtable or in a database or Excel spreadsheet, to really list out who you have the strongest relationship with, create a really nice PDF, ideally co-created with lots of feedback. So don't just start marketing from the day your campaign launches. Have Zoom calls, prepare in advance, kind of maybe 1 month before, really circulate the content and the invitation, and then people will help you spread the word. And WhatsApp is such a powerful way of doing it because you can just copy and paste and hit lots of people with personal messages that they'll respond to very quickly. Whereas emails get lost, newsletters go into spam, social media posts, you don't even know who's going to see them and who's not. Whereas going direct through instant messaging was very, very effective. So we managed to get very quickly 75 backers and just over £3,500 of contributions. And I also found that having match funding lined up, whether it's through government grant funding, whether it's through a philanthropist or some sort of match funding, is very, very helpful to getting people to feel that it's a good thing to give to. You can also set up perks and offer up pre-sales where you say, well, everything you contribute will actually be converted into membership fees or into event tickets, credits. And all of those things worked really well. Quite a few people I found just wanted to support the space, no questions asked. But a few people liked the fact that they weren't just making a donation, but they could get a credit in return. What I found also that was really, really powerful was having Zoom calls beforehand and somewhere in the middle of the campaign just to kind of rally people and just once again, tell the story of what we're about. And I think that the thing that makes House of Transformation different is that we're not trying to just rent desks. What we're trying to do is really create a space that's designed specifically for very collaborative, co-created workshops, trainings, and events and experiences. So we can have a dance event, sound healing, an immersive dinner where there's a theme and a story. We can also do kind of hackathons and workshops and offer up the space not to a bunch of members that are choosing between a cafe or us, but for SMEs and companies that are looking for slightly less corporate, slightly less glass box spaces where they can rent them out for a day, maybe a day a week or half a day a week, and really bring their team together and do that social interaction, do that collaboration that often is lacking when they're working online. And as well as focusing on kind of a meeting collaboration space over a workspace, what I've also been busy doing is reaching out to farmers and countryside estates to also help them access this London market of companies, but also people that don't just want to be in the city, that need that connection to nature, that want to either go on a retreat or spend some time co-working or co-living in a more rural environment. And that vision of effectively our space being a bridge into a more regenerative and wholesome lifestyle is something that a lot of people resonate with. And yeah, I think those stories really were quite compelling. I made sure to do quite a few blog articles, and out of really nothing, a very little low mailing list, we managed to get quite a lot of traction. And all of those people that maybe didn't necessarily fund the campaign, so many people said, oh, you know what, I'd love to stop by for tea, learn about what you're doing. I also published a white paper around a regenerative economy and the wider vision that we're working towards. And ultimately what ended up happening was I probably made 30 to 40 incredible connections and relationships that are going to be so useful for the space, regardless of the funding. So all this wrapping up, I think one of the smartest things to do, even before you've launched a space, right at the point when you sign the heads of terms, is to begin thinking about how you could launch a crowdfunding, but how you could also begin these conversations online to start mobilizing people locally around big ideas and around the wider vision and values of what you're trying to create. And eventually what I found was the people that contributed didn't necessarily want to support the space because they would get a discount, but because they really loved the content that we were creating and they wanted to be part of it from the beginning. And actually what ends up happening is that little bit of maybe it's like 2, 3, 5 grand really makes all the difference, because it means you're not stressed to fill your space instantly with anyone that comes. You have a bit of a financial buffer to take your time, really build those relationships and go slowly so that the community is going to last. The other thing that I'd also say is hack your video using Canva. Canva is brilliant. Anyone can use it. You can record audio on your phone. You can add videos and create slides, throw it into iMovie. You can make a video in a couple of hours that's really presentable that can go into your campaign as well. And then leverage kind of all the socials as well. And sometimes it helps to, yeah, do some Zooms, build up some momentum so that when you do go live, you've preloaded the campaign, because no one likes to fund a campaign at 1% or 2%. And one of the great things with DonorBox is you can, without needing to pay a commission, you can do offline payments and gather all of your early donations up to a certain point, so that when new people are hitting the campaign, they're seeing, oh, it's 20% funded or 30% funded. And they're much more likely to make a contribution. So yeah, I think that was all the learning that I had. Definitely try it. Definitely use DonorBox and set it up with your own existing website. And think of it as a brilliant way to start building content and start getting people together around something and a bigger vision, a bigger story, before you've even opened your space. Because once you open your space, you're going to be busy with a lot of other things, and you're not necessarily going to have time to create that mailing list, to build that early group. And plus, you also miss out on the opportunity to get feedback and to co-create your website and potentially tap into people's help and support along the way. So yeah, I hope that was helpful. Please visit www.hotspaces.org, which is our website for House of Transformation. If you're in East London, please stop by for some tea. And we in particular want to attract small businesses and freelancers who are passionate about climate change and the future of farming and the future of housing, and how we live and work together in a more sustainable and healthy way. So yeah, thanks for listening. Bernie, if you've got any questions, feel free to add them, but we'll definitely share this video widely after this call.
Thanks, Anton. What do you think was the most difficult part of that whole journey? Because there's a lot of people hear crowdfunding all the time. People might have heard of Amanda Palmer, who years ago did a really good TED talk on crowdfunding, and everyone, the ones I've been involved in have, the last 10 minutes have been the most stressful and intense. So, how did it play out for you?
I mean, I think the most stressful thing was dealing with a government agency that didn't give us good information, and dealing with a platform that was not very well designed. So that's why DonorBox was such a good solution. You connect it with Stripe, you connect it with PayPal, it's super easy, and you have full control. The most stressful thing was actually realizing we didn't get the match funding, and so we wouldn't get the money that had been contributed, because unless you meet your target, nothing gets transferred. And I think that's just stupid. And what we should be doing is crowdfunding with a target in mind, but even if we don't reach it, we still get something. But also what I would say is I think there's pros and cons with trying to get government grant funding. And actually the next time I do it, I'm going to go to a specific foundation that really aligns with our values and vision and get them to offer up match funding, which is guaranteed, because they're not knowing whether we would get funding and having to tick lots of boxes. It's completely unnecessary, because actually we did all the work. We made the video, everyone that contributed came through our networks. And that actually, I think if you're doing it alone, it's quite stressful. But if you're doing it with others, it's easy. And just having people to reshare and re-promote and just seeing the contributions people make is really wonderful. Because yeah, I think that all of these community spaces, you don't do this type of project if you want to make money, right? It's really not going to make it. But you do it because you love it and you want to bring people together and create real value in your community. And so I think people want to support that. So that's the great part of it. Dealing with the grant funders and admin processes is the most stressful. And also, I think, don't set your target too high. Even $2,000 is good. The key thing is that you have something to talk about and that you can rally your core group of people around achieving something that is real. And you can say that money goes towards certain renovation costs. You can say it goes towards running a particular dinner series or a particular series of events. And that's good. That's good enough. And the most important thing is that you put your vision out there and your values, and you get people excited. And it's not about the total that you raise. It's just about the fact that you're doing something during this time when usually you're just waiting to get the lease and waiting to do the renovation. But that's such a beautiful window of time to actually get a jump start on your marketing and a jump start on your community building.
And I think I learned a lot of the things you're saying there, Anton. I think for me, this is what gets to the heart of the potential of having an assembly of connection across the whole UK, which is driven by value. This is what excites me about networking with people who care about things that matter and making a difference in the world so that it's more fair, more equitable, more environmentally friendly. And I think that's what drives so many people who people our spaces. And my sort of observation is, I did fundraising. I worked for a fundraising agency, God knows, nearly 30 years ago, but it hasn't really changed. It's a relationship building process. And I think these kinds of initiatives, these ways of promoting your space are about relationship as well as raising the money. So it's about the purpose at the heart of it. And that's always, I think, what matters. If you can use crowdfunding as a way of engaging with people and building a relationship and moving them from a place of initial connection of values, say, of some common interest, and then stepping with them along the way together. I think that's where the magic of crowdfunding comes for me. It's not necessarily about the initial target and the particular campaign and goal. It's about building a relationship and building a brighter, better future together. So I think I thanks for sharing all those things. There's an awful lot more, obviously, in crowdfunding experience that people will learn, depending on what they're doing and how they're doing it. I think those are some really good lessons that you've shared there, and hope people learn, profit well from it, and join the network.
Yes, cool. Well, thank you for that, Mike. And I think it's a perfect time to wrap up. If you have any questions or you'd like to learn more, please email me at anton@hotspaces.org. And yeah, good luck with launching your crowdfunding space. Yeah, good luck with your crowdfunding campaigns too. Ciao.